Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have quite a few different things to go and cover on over here when it comes to the PlayStation 5 and a bunch of random and secret updates. Now, as you guys do or do not know, the PlayStation 5 has quite a few different various games, and some are actually soft locked at, well, 30 FPS, or at not maybe necessarily the most efficient or well-optimized settings, but one big thing to go and know is consoles can and will and are currently being modded to somehow fit these specifications to make them run a little bit better. Now, we actually have a pretty cool underground thing going on over here from Illusion0001, and I want to go and talk about this kind of nifty and secret PlayStation update that probably not many people really know about. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Definitely leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video, and of course we have the Twitter and Twitch. If you guys are bored or play live up on Twitch, you guys want to say hi down below. So, as you guys do or do not know, the modding scene has actually been pretty relevant in almost every single, especially PC community. But of course, as well, you can still go and mod things like consoles, and well, you can still get some pretty cool results. And what this kind of means is as of right now, we are now seeing people able to go into the internal, firmware of the consoles themselves to go and revitalize and remake basically these random big games that are very sought after games, such as like Bloodborne, or, even stuff like God of War, Last of Us Part 2 as well, that could have a chance to go and be redefined and remade to have a higher resolution sometimes, higher graphics sometimes, and more importantly for this situation, better frame rate, and sometimes even uncapped frame rate. So it's mostly like a secret update going on over here. And this is kind of cool because, well, people are invested into this. And we're now seeing articles and other things popping out right now where there's multiple PlayStation titles that are getting unofficial 60 FPS PlayStation 5 updates. So what does that mean? Number one, you can kind of tell by the title, unofficial means it's not by the developers themselves or by PlayStation themselves, kind of going underground for all of it. They're just trying their best to go make sure the game itself is running and maintaining, and if they need to do a small update or anything like that. But what modders are going and doing are making the games even better. So basically for this one, they say it's always nice to play better versions of games that we love, whether it's the official or unofficial means. For whatever reason, it feels like the first-party publishers such as Sony seem reluctant to improve some popular, backwards compatible video games from previous generations. To be fair though, they say it's not really so much of an issue with Xbox, because Xbox always has been big components of backwards capability, as well as also updating stuff. A very good example for that is recently, with their Call of Duty big changes, trying their best to make the Call of Duty game, all those old school Call of Duties, able to be played on Xbox, which that's why they were being sold out, and as well why they were selling like hotcakes. And it's kind of always nice to go and see. But one thing PlayStation's always been bad on, and I'm more of a PlayStation fanboy myself, but it's kind of true, is they don't typically go and focus on old school games, or put a lot of effort and time into that quality of life changes. So the issue seemingly lies with Sony. So take, for example, Bloodborne by From Software, a true PlayStation classic in every sense of the word that published and pushed the PS4 to its absolute limit. At the time of writing, Bloodborne is still currently at a 30 FPS game. So as much as you want to play it, no PC version still, which pains me, because don't forget we can also then mod Bloodborne itself on PC. Also have higher frame rate and better graphics, 4K, all of that would be beautiful, but as well it's also stuck at 30 FPS even for the PS4 and as well PS5. Even when you're using the PS5 console. So unlike other Sony first-party titles, including God of War and Last of Us Part 2. So why is Sony so inconsistent with new-gen updates? So they always go and say just probably maybe for either money-wise, maybe they always have these random reworks in the back, like in the illumination in the background too, so they're always maybe assuming that. It's hey, why do we want to go make a, a PS4 version of Bloodborne run at 60 FPS when we can just go and release it on PC and have more people on PC buy it? Or same thing, maybe wait for a remake and resell on the PS5 so more people will buy it. Maybe they have that in the pipelines, we don't really know. But basically for this one, Sony has never been really that good for kind of bolstering up the old school games or keeping them in the loop. So basically, we had other places like Push Square and other places stating that there's been a lot of big games that are actually now pushing and getting the secret 60 FPS updates. Good example over here is on the Crash Team Racing, which you guys can maybe go and see on this one over here. I'll maybe mute up the audio just because, whatever. But you guys can actually go and see the game itself. This game right now looks phenomenal, and I would almost want to say any type of racing game at 60 FPS is not good. It's kind of funny how Elky's over here yelling at me to start my Twitch stream. You guys are bored, goes through on the Twitch stream itself, so Elky could keep on yelling at me over there. There, it always pops up my screen. But when it comes to this stuff, you can see how good and well the game looks. Like 60 FPS for older style games or games that are not as graphically intensive are kind of a big deal. And this is what some modders are now trying to go do a breakthrough on with these secret PlayStation 5 updates. They want to make sure that these old school style games games on the PS4 or any other various type of game that could and should deserve these updates, or even like PS3 or PS2 type games, they want them to go and have these things. And they are now able to go and run a lot of these various newer age games on 60 FPS and doing these secret updates as of right now. So if you guys want to, you can even go look into GitHub. If you guys don't necessarily know what GitHub is, from my understanding, it's kind of just more of like a big coding. I don't want to say like a forum per se, but it kind of is. Like people can basically go and submit code, alter code, see the raw code for a lot of open source type style things. Think like an OBS, where like I'm over here and I'm recording my YouTube video over here. You can kind of see for this one. This is technically an open source program that you guys can see as like the recording software and all that type of stuff. But that is also able to go be publicly noted to see what people are working on, what people are submitting on, what people are changing on, or as well sometimes if it's just open source, you can just have a chance to go and have anyone do a confirmation. So for this one, we over here from Illusion, who has been working on all these different things. We have this unofficial 60 FPS patch for Crisis Core Reunion that is running on the PS4 to make the game run better, more efficiently. They have unofficial bug fixes too as well, where some people are actually having issues, let's say for them using like a certain thing, or like any game. Like imagine there's a game-breaking bug that Sony or PlayStation or whoever did, for some odd reason just doesn't want to fix. Or maybe it's a really old school game from 7 years ago and there's no current active devs. So they'll have a chance to go and utilize and change the code. Unofficial 60 FPS patches too as well for Gravity Rush 2. Unofficial 60 FPS patch now for now canceled PT. Unofficial bug fixes for The Last of Us on the PS3 and PS4. Improved loading for the game itself too. So they even have things like optimizing the games themselves, let alone having to have like a 60 FPS title, which is good. That's a huge, huge improvement that many people would, if they could, and it was easy to set up, would probably like to go take advantage of. Like if they own the game already, or if they want to buy the game and revisit the game, they would probably want to use these files, especially if they're like a big, either maybe a speed runner. Very good example for niche communities who would like this. Or maybe you just want to go play the old game because you have the game. Like, why not? There's nothing, I'm not going to judge you for that. And all this type of stuff kind of shows these secret updates to the PlayStation 5 that actually are making games run better. All thanks to these coders and people who had a chance to go and somewhat jailbreak their consoles and have a chance to go and use these moddable solutions and inject code and all this type of stuff for their stuff, at least from my understanding. So solving the infected severed head crash bug, in The Last of Us. Unofficial bug fixes now for Uncharted 2. Game patches for modified video game consoles. Custom plugins too as well for these jailbroken consoles, which is what I was trying to say before. Sometimes you have these jailbroken consoles overall, and like you have a chance to then utilize this code to make it better, make the games better, make the games run better. And this actually is code, I do believe, that's available right now for even the PS5. So basically, if you have your PS5 on firmware 3.00 or 4.51 or anything in between, there basically will be a beta test. You guys can actually have this public release for these supporters and have a chance to go and rot this off on out, which I think is actually very cool. So they have a chance either for emulation to help preserve video games, or have a chance to make these games better. And they have a lot of the stuff in their actual repositories over here too as well. Now, this is somewhat of a sketchy thing too when it comes to stuff like the kernel exploits and having a chance to utilize the consoles, so obviously do everything with a grain of salt. But as we go through this type of stuff, we have a chance to see all these different types of like things being worked on in the background, whether it's from like them themselves or other folks out here working on whatever type of thing they want to go and do, which I think is very, very cool to see. There's also a lot of people obviously going and starting this stuff and vouching for the stuff. People are sponsoring for it too as well, and they also, for the same person, to give Illusion some credit, have done 2,599 contributions in the last year alone. Like, Jesus Christ, this guy probably went on like Christmas break over here for work and did 74 contributions on a random Saturday, and this is just absolutely ridiculous to see how this do as well. But this is cool. This is actually an overall secret PlayStation 5 update because games are out here. They're getting these upgrades. They're getting better frames. They're having better bug fixes and crashes and have a chance to go and fine-tune the games even more, and this is absolutely really cool to go and see. So Illusion and Lance McDonald, there is now even more games on top of this, with also more unofficial updates for 60 FPS on the PS5, including Bloodborne, Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2, and The Order 1886. And as well, this is all not done by official companies. This is not done by Rockstar. This is not done by, all these other various companies that should, in theory, be doing this. They should be working on this. They should be making these things happen. But instead, they have modders who put the gaming community on their backs to make the game stay alive. Good example is games like Skyrim. That game was definitely kept alive a lot longer from modders, which I always respect that people put the time and effort into the games themselves. But this is cool. This is a secret update not many people probably know about. And as well, if you guys are into the modding scene or just even like to play old school niche type style games as well, Illusion might be a very intriguing person to look out for. And of course, I'll keep you guys up to date with any more nifty secret updates that may come out in the works. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow or hang out on either side. We also have the Amazon links too as well if you guys would like to follow or check that out, the consoles. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Give me your thoughts and comments down below.